How you doing? This is Lord Thadeus, Kray. I'm gonna get to the point on this one. This one, I debated doing it more than once. And it's not a matter of it being a bad topic. It's just that I've covered the subject of Dogman so many times. It's kind of, I'm not gonna say redundant. It's just I don't really know much more to say. But at the same time, I'm gonna go ahead and continue with it. Someone was asking me about the different types of Dogman that are out there. I've discussed this before, so I'm going to go ahead and go on a little bit of a different direction. Where do they come from? Of course, definitely, I've discussed many times about them being at least some sightings being demonic. Naturally, like I said many times, the human mind cooks up things which it's obsessed with, and can manifest it into a physical form as well. And naturally, something that feeds on fear or a demonic host or entity is naturally, if you're afraid of something like that, it's going to take the form of it to naturally feed off your fear. Kind of like Pennywise from It. Sure is. But anyway, moving on from that horrifying thing. Definitely some of the origins of Dogman could be demonic. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But I also think that there's something beyond that. I believe that these creatures are chimeric. At least some of them. Now, there's some individuals who put their own 2 cents in this, and there's some folks who even claim to be insiders. And that's their business. I mean, honestly, hell, they may be right. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not saying one right or not. My job is to simply get people to think. Whoever wants to say there's a hoax for this or that, that's not my concern right now. My concern is, again, to get people to think. Everything is based on a fact, and Dogman is no different. I believe very firmly, me personally, like I said, these creatures are probably chimeric. These things probably may even have some human in them. It's a very big possibility. Maybe something was tinkering around with things that should have been left alone. And that is a definite possible origin for many of these creatures. You can look on many different podcasts or different shows, even documentaries, about how these things behave. Some seem to travel along riverways, which makes sense. Most animals do this. Because water, of course, surrounds everything. Look at bears, they have to feed on salmon, and don't have to, they choose to. And that's one of their biggest food staples, is fish. So naturally, they're going to follow the waterways and the migration of salmon. That's simply one example. Polar bears are similar, too. They follow the migration of seals and things like that, and of course, that's what they eat. That's one thing which many people don't really think about when it comes to them. So I'm thinking most likely the behavior of Dogman is no different, just like probably like Sasquatch. This is one thing that interests me. Supposedly there have been many, how can I say this the best way? There have been many quote, stories of Dogman interacting with Bigfoot. Now, that's interesting in itself. Now, how the hell that could be, well, it makes sense in its own right. I mean, think about it. You have apex predators interact with each other all the time. They usually give each other a wide berth, and there's deep respect between the two because, of course, as many folks have said, if a predator like that fights with another one of them's going to be hurt, and it can't feed itself, and it will starve. That's basically sheer stupidity. And that's why most of the time if you have predators that come across each other, they usually will avoid each other. Or sometimes they even work together, which is interesting in itself. Look at chimpanzees, for example. I mean, that in itself is, you sit down and look at how chimpanzees will hunt. Believe me, that, you can look at the stuff on YouTube. Believe me, that's some scary stuff. Them things are very related to us, I promise you that. I'm just going to leave it at that. So I believe very firmly, as I said, it's a chimeric creature, possibly. It may even be something that is natural, that has evolved in its own way. They may not actually be weird, like wolf-like creatures at all. They may not even be canine. It might be something that has evolved to, like I say, is the best way. It may be something that has evolved to have similar features to that of a canine, as well as possibly even a hominoid stance or whatever. And it literally has evolved these features in order for it to become a more successful predator or hunter. Think about this. There's an animal which is, of course, supposedly extinct. It was called a thylacine back in the day. It was a marsupial predator that would hunt. It would hunt anything from kangaroo to other things in Australia. It looked a lot like a dog. I mean, it had the same kind of skull, similar bite force. Not quite as strong, but close enough. Like I said, this thing was a predator, and it was designed to hunt and to kill things. And like I said, the dimorphism of this thing was a lot like a dog. I mean, if you looked at it, you'd be like, wow, that's a striped dog. No, it was marsupial. And genetics will show that up for us, to say the least. So there you go. Also, when it comes to something along the lines of something that's evolved for a special diet, look at the panda bear. That thing is a bear. The giant panda is a bear. There is nothing else to say about it. It is a freaking bear. But it is, for whatever reason, it's not very intelligent, for one. Number two, it is also known to only eat bamboo. That is what it's evolved around. So, there you go. I think it's possible that Dogman may actually be something that has evolved from maybe something similar. I'm not saying it's marsupial, but you never know. My point is, it may have evolved into a very large canine-like creature that naturally is designed this way to hunt more effectively. And believe me, supposedly people have how can I say this the best way? Supposedly sightings have literally shown these things moving beyond what the eye can see, like in a blink. Supposedly their speed is something that is terrifying. So, again, there you go. So you have two things already. A chimeric creature, or, again, which is something that was probably cooked up by entities best left not mentioned, if you know what I'm talking about. Creatures and beings probably wiped out with the flood, or definitely dwindled down in number with the flood, or again, a natural occurring creature that has evolved on its own that just simply we can't explain. And also, it could be a multitude of things. And what I mean by this is maybe it's not just an old world chimera, it could be a new world one. What I'm talking about is simply maybe these naturally occurring creatures have been captured out of the wild, and our government loves to tinker with things it shouldn't. And there you go. Just going to leave it right there. I need not say any more. But also, that would make you think, why would they want to weaponize these things? Well, why does the government want to weaponize anything? Super soldier. Simple as that. I mean, think about it. The natural characteristics of these creatures, their capabilities, I'm just saying, what they can do is something literally out of someone's worst nightmare. That right there in itself is something to think about. So, I mean, I think it's any of those possibilities. Like I said, anything from supernatural, something that's being cooked up in people's minds and projected out. And, of course, naturally, something taking the form of that to feed on our fear as well as other things. A chimeric creature, or maybe a naturally occurring one, or a natural occurring one that is being turned into a chimeric creature. I mean, the list goes on and on with these things. But I just wanted to put that out there. This is something that definitely I was originally hesitant to cover, like I said, because I've been doing Dogman for a good long time. But at the same time, I figured this might be kind of an original take. Like, figure out where these things come from. Just going to leave it at that. However, I'm going to be releasing a story very soon. It's going to, how can I say this? I've introduced the character of Charles Blackfeather before in Werewolf Hunter. This is going to be his last run. Just going to leave it at that. He's gathered a group of people to handle a very big problem. And this is the story that'll be coming out. It's called The Handlers. I've already done the recording, but now I need to do the final editing and all that. It's going to take some time. I'm in no rush. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to rush this. I want this to be decent. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, because you guys know my storytelling can sometimes be a little long-winded. That's just how it is. But there will be action. There will be plenty of detail. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Hope you guys enjoy. And you guys be blessed and you be safe.